Today I will be showing you how to create a planter and create a field in Global Plot Management. In doing this, I'm assuming you have already downloaded the GPM software from our download link and have called our technicians for license codes, as this is a licensed program. Click on the GPM icon to launch the program. The first thing I'll be showing you how to do is set the UTM zone. We need this for our GPS. In our settings, we'll click on UTM zone, and we've included maps to help you find your UTM zone. I will be leaving it at the default of 14 since I'm in Kansas, but here's some other maps to show you how to find yours. Now we'll click on the Step 4 layout. Over here on the left, we have our tabs. We have one for Select Plot, Origins and Plot Counts, Groups, Buffers, GPS, and Other. I will be going through some of this stuff in here and some of it we'll cover later. So we'll go to Select Plot. Under Select Planter, we're going to do Setup. Click Next, and then we're going to create a planter and name our planter and click Apply. Then click Next. This setting here I will be covering later when we go to Plant. This setting here is also will be covered later. What we need here is the number of rows, the row spacing, and the number of holes in our seed plate. This setting we'll be covering later, and this setting we'll be covering later. Now we'll select the planter that we've already created. Now we can put in our client, division, location, and plot ID. We have to click New each time, type in the information, and click Apply. Once we've done that, these will all be saved in our SRES data folder. Now we click on the Plot View tab and Origins and Plot Counts, and we'll put in the number of ranges and passes we want to plant, and then apply changes. In our edit groups, we can add a crop. Just type in the name of the new crop. The default is one corn group, one soybean group. I'll be going over what these gauges mean and how we set everything up for optimum planting. In our planting plate RPM, we would like to keep it between 10 and 20 is optimum, and we can adjust our speed to see the change. Our alley RPM, we never want it to be over 45, then we get inconsistent alley lengths, so we'd like to keep it within 20 RPM swing of what our planting plate RPM is. Our time for evac, we can have our time for evac as low as 1 second, but we'd like to keep it 1.5 seconds or above. The last gauge is showing us in green how many seeds are actually being planted, and red is the minimum amount of seeds we can plant with that plate. Now I will edit the default group. We'll put in our plot length. We'll put in our alley length. Our row spacing is already in there when we created our planter. Rows per plot is just how it will be displayed on the screen, and we can put in the number of seeds per plot or target population. Whichever one we fill in, the other one will autofill. Then we can adjust our speed and watch our gauges to make sure that we're at our optimum speed for that planting. Then we can also get our ground speed and our plot time from this. We can also change the number of holes in the plate to see if one looks better than the other. I'll change this one back to 24. Then adjust my speed, find my planting speed, 1.7, and then save changes. Now, here's displayed what we're going to be planting. I'm going to jump ahead to some groups that I've already created. In our selections, we can select all to select all plots, Control to select random plots, and with Shift it will select everything between the two clicks. So we'll clear this out. I want my first two ranges and my last two ranges to be a 40-foot plot, so I will hit Shift between those 2 points, and I will highlight my 40-foot group, set selected plots, clear selection, and apply changes. And I'm going to bring up a thematic color. This is a visual representation where you can see the differences. So my purple is my 480 and my reds are my 240. So now I will get the last two ranges of my plot, do the same process, set selected plots, make sure my 40-foot plot is highlighted, clear selection, apply changes. So now I will go to, I have 3 other groups that are 20-foot plots, and I'm just going to randomly select plots in here. Once I have these selected, I will do the same steps. Set selected plots, clear selection, and apply changes. Now I'm going to change the thematic color to seeds per plot. So now you can see that I have 3 different populations. Now I'm going to pick my third of the 20-foot plots and randomly select again. Set selected plots, clear selection, apply changes. Now if I switch it back to plot length, I won't have 2 colors because I only have 2 different plot lengths. Seeds per plot, I have 4 different colors. So now I'm going to switch to world view, and now you'll see that I have my 480-inch plots there and my 240-inch plots in the middle. Now I want to lay this over a satellite image. So in my origins and plot counts, I can put in the latitude and longitude and decimal of the field that I want to visually lay this plot over the top of. Unclick our origin coordinate locked and set from entered text. Now a brief description of world view. I will zoom in. I will explain the origin. The origin is the bottom left nav point, green dot. Center of alley is the red line. The gray area is the alley, and the blue line is the AB line that we will be driving down when we plant. Now once again I will zoom out, then zoom back in so we can see the difference between our 120-inch plots and our 240-inch plots. Center of alleys, the red line again. See, we have a visual representation that we have a shorter plot and a longer plot. I've turned off the thematic color to discuss our labeling. I will zoom in here on our first range. The first number is the range. The second number is the first row of that plot, which is why we skip from 1 to 3, then to 5, because the 5th row will be our return pass. Now I will pan to the second range. Now you see it's switched to 2, so we're in our second range. I will zoom in on the other end of the plot in range 18, our last range, and our last number will be 47 because that's the last of the 48 rows. So now I'll go back to select plot, and in our county data, if I'm connected to the internet, I can select a web layer. I'm going to use this Bing Aerial. Being able to lay our field out over a geospatial reference map is exclusive and patented to SRES. And now my origin, the bottom left hand corner of my screen, is at that exact GPS coordinate that I entered. So I'll zoom out. Now I want to plant along this road, so I need to change my rotation. So I go to origins and plot counts. Right now I'm at 0 degrees, which is due north, and I want to plant at 90 degrees. So now that I've applied my changes, I'll zoom out, and I want to plant above this road here. So I'll show you a few ways to move our plot. What I'm going to do is unclick our origin coordinate lock, set for map quick, and click roughly where I think I need to be. I got close, but I'm not close enough. So I'm going to zoom out again, and now I'm going to use the move origin function once I've unclicked our origin coordinate lock, and I'm going to move it to the left, which will be up. I'm going to move it 10 feet. Apply new origin, and now I'm above my road where I want to be. In here I have pivot tracks, and I want to null out the plots where the pivot tracks are, so it will not plant. So first thing, I need to align those plots with the pivot tracks. So I'll zoom in, and I need to move it slightly ahead to get those to line up. So I can unclick my origin coordinate locked, move origin. I'm going to move it ahead. Looks like 10 feet. Apply new origin. So now it looks like the third range of my 20-foot plots and the third from the last is lined up on the pivots. So I'll switch it back to plot view, and then I'm going to shift and select those plots. Go back to my groups and set those not to plant. And then apply changes. And then I'll do the same thing at the other end of the field. So now if I go back into world view, it looks like I shouldn't be planting in my pivot tracks. So now I'm going to show you buffers. Buffers is just a representation on the screen. It's good for showing a distance you want to stay away from something, or you need a specific distance to turn your tractor around. So I put a 40-foot in buffer here. I'm also going to show you an isolation buffer. We'll have to click show isolation. A typical is 660 feet from our plot boundary, and apply changes. So that is our 660-foot isolation buffer. The GPS tab I will be covering in a later video. In our other, if we zoom in, we can change the plot label, the size, the color, and what it's displaying. We can also do other things in here that I will be covering later, like importing plots. We also have a measuring tool. You can click and drag it to another location on the map, and at the very bottom it will show you the bearing of our line and also the length of our line. We can also draw out and measure an area with it. So there you have it. You've created a field in Step 4 layout. Thanks for watching.